In July 2020, a tragic story unfolded in Colorado that shook the community to its core. Ariana Woke, the granddaughter of a Manson family victim, was discovered dead in her apartment by a friend. The brutality of her murder echoed the horrific fate of her grandmother decades earlier. This wasn't just another crime, it was a chilling reminder of how violence can echo across generations. Neighbors reported seeing Ariana earlier that day, and she was not alone. Their accounts would soon reveal a terrifying sequence of events, pointing investigators to a suspect and exposing layers of deception and danger. Our hearts go out to the family and loved ones of Ariana Woke. She will be remembered for her devotion, love, and her life. Losing her in such a tragic and deliberate way is a sorrow no family should have to bear. May her memory bring comfort, and may her story inspire vigilance, courage, and the pursuit of justice for those whose voices are silenced. This is True Crime Diaries, where we bring you the stories behind the cases, the evidence, the investigation, and the voices that must be heard. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real stories that matter. And share with us below, what do you think is the most important lesson from Ariana's story? On Friday, July 3rd, 2020, at just before 9:30 p.m., Denver 911 received a frantic call from a resident on North Oneida Street. Moments earlier, a man had knocked on their door, explaining that their friend, living upstairs, had been found dead. Officers arrived swiftly. Inside Ariana's apartment, the scene was harrowing. The 40-year-old single mother lay near her closet on the bedroom floor, lifeless. She had suffered nearly 20 stab wounds, concentrated on her back and neck.
I went to Sonic, and then I went to my house, which is about Mountain Six Wood. And I was there the whole time until I just came back here, walked inside, the back door was open, I walked inside, I was like, hello, knock, and I walked in and I found her in the bedroom.
Okay. When did you return back here?
I went inside, saw her, walked outside, and straight down here and asked her to call because my phone's actually in her room.
Paramedics pronounced her dead at the scene. Her young son was safe with relatives, away from the unfolding horror. Ariana's friend, who had been helping her with her struggles with alcohol, explained that she had been staying temporarily to support Ariana's sobriety. That day, she had plans to attend a barbecue with her boyfriend, which made the news of her death even more shocking. A neighbor who had called 911 described seeing a man with Ariana earlier in the day. He had knocked on her door around 8:45 p.m., claiming concern over Ariana's unusual behavior, hinting she might be a threat to herself. Though he said he would leave, he was later seen shirtless in the backyard.
Before I left, she was like, hey, you want to go with us to the park? And I was like, no, I need to go home. I haven't been able to change or do anything in 2 days. So I said, I'm going. And she was supposed to be going to City Park to barbecue with her boyfriend. That's the last thing that I know.
So what time today did you see him?
I mean, I can't think of nothing no more.
Was it light outside, dark outside?
Yeah, I was closing my blinds about 8:40 and I saw him. I looked out the back window and he was there and he went around the back part. He came in through the gate. He went into the gate and round to the end.
What did he look
I shut
like?
my blind.
White guy, black guy, Hispanic guy? Black?
White.
White. Okay.
He came downstairs twice and he asked me, can I come in and talk to you about her? I said, no, stand outside, talk to the door.
Right.
You know. And he says, well, I don't like the way she's acting. She's acting weird and everything. Talking about, he said she's going to do something to herself because she was, acting strange.
Okay.
He said, okay. He went back upstairs, but he said he was leaving.
Okay.
But then, like I said, half an hour later, like I said, I saw him in the back part of the yard. But the dog was out there.
So that was at 8:45 you saw him?
Yeah, about 8:40 to 9. It's almost getting dark.
So about 9:15.
Within 15 minutes, Ariana's friend discovered her body. Ariana had only lived at Anita Street for a short time. Her on-again, off-again boyfriend had moved out months prior. Friends described her as sweet, generous, and full of life. She was known for her playful personality and the warmth she extended to everyone around her. Born in Penn Valley, California, Ariana's family carried the weight of past tragedy. In August 1969, her grandmother Rosemary LaBianca and step-grandfather Leno LaBianca were brutally murdered by members of the Charles Manson cult. Ariana grew up with the knowledge of that family history, a shadow that would later make the parallels of her own murder all the more haunting. By the time officers secured Ariana's apartment, they observed a trail of blood leading from her bedroom into the living room and kitchen. A folding knife, stained with blood, lay in the kitchen sink. The obvious suspect was her boyfriend Patrick, who had been scheduled to meet her that day and had a documented history of domestic disputes. However, Patrick's GPS ankle monitor confirmed he was not at Ariana's apartment, eliminating him as a suspect. Patrick mentioned that Ariana often befriended strangers, inviting them back to her home. This habit provided detectives with another line of inquiry. The son of a tenant who frequently visited the building confirmed Ariana's pattern of befriending people in need.
Were you at anywhere near the Oneida Street address at all yesterday?
Closest I was the Walgreens.
Okay.
Yeah,
What time was that?
2, 3 o'clock. Like right after that barbecue.
Did you have any contact with Ariana yesterday in person?
Yeah, I
At the
did.
Walgreens?
Yeah,
Was it at the Walgreens or another business nearby?
Walgreens.
Okay. Can you do me a favor real quick? Can you put your hands out like that for me? And then can you turn your hands over? Okay, thank you.
The thing with Ariana is if she gets intoxicated, she brings home people.
Okay.
Vagrants. I used to be like homeless, and so like she would bring home people and complete strangers and just put trust in them.
What do you mean by that?
Like, here's my debit card. Go to the store. Like,
Okay.
no thought process when drinking about people taking advantage or doing stuff like that.
So how often is she bringing people to the house?
Frequently, like daily.
Okay.
No, it was just like friendly, like I'm trying to feed them, help them out type of.
Okay.
Yeah. She was intoxicated and she was with a younger 20-year-old kid.
What do you look like?
Like the kind of flamboyant, dark hair.
White, black, Hispanic?
All white.
You're saying flamboyant. Tell me what you mean.
Like he just had like a gay or stylish haircut. I'm trying to not be derogatory.
You're saying younger, like how old?
20, she said.
20?
She was like, oh, I met a gay 20-year-old, blah, 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 blah. She was like,
Do you know what he was wearing?
might have had a red shirt, but I just briefly saw him.
Did she introduce him?
She did, but I don't remember his name. She met him supposedly walking from Oneida to Walgreens.
Okay.
Surveillance footage from East Kfax Avenue and North Monaco Street captured Ariana walking at 5:15 p.m. with a man with black hair. They crossed the street toward her apartment, stopping at a store where cameras showed the man carrying a Starbucks cup with a pink drink. The footage and unique tattoo on his arm led investigators to identify the man, 24-year-old José Sandíval Romero. On July 7th, José was brought in for questioning. He had partially healed cuts on his right hand, consistent with slipping a knife, and wore sunglasses indoors to obscure his eyes. Initially, he provided a confusing account. He claimed to have encountered Ariana while she was arguing with Patrick, helped her home, and then, hours later, killed her. He described an agreement where he believed murder was the only way to prevent a greater threat. Investigators soon pieced together the timeline. José approached Ariana in her bedroom near the closet, stabbing her multiple times. Afterward, he fled, disposing of his clothing and shoes in a nearby dumpster. He then stayed at his mother's house, watching to see if police would find him. A critical piece of evidence came from the Starbucks cup, later found on Ariana's lawn. Fingerprint analysis confirmed José's prints matched those on the cup, corroborating surveillance footage and witness accounts. His actions were deliberate and meticulously planned. Midway through the investigation, police confirmed José's history included prior minor offenses, but nothing that foreshadowed such a violent act. Detectives also learned that Ariana had been social and often welcomed new people into her life, which José exploited. Once José Sandíval Romero was in custody, detectives began piecing together the sequence of events leading to Ariana's death. His story was inconsistent and evasive. At first, he claimed he had only been helping her home, that she seemed disoriented and intoxicated.
I don't know how she did it. She just played me. She pretty much, I don't know why she fucking told me to go with her. This lady literally picked me up from the street and she made me feel bad. And every time I would leave her, she would stumble on the ground and make me feel bad. And every time I said, no, I gotta go. Something's not right with you. And then she would stumble on the ground and cry. And she would just stumble on the ground and cry. And I don't know, she just played me. She played me. But I pretty much played myself by listening to her. I'm telling you, she drugged me. And the only way to help her was apparently her crazy way.
To help kill her?
Yeah.
So when she's talking to you about that, it kind of, you're telling me, and again, correct me if I'm not understanding you. What you're saying is you thought the only way to help her was to kill her.
She was going to have her boyfriend show up. And then she called her boyfriend, and I don't know what they talked about, but she pretty much told me that, like, we were going to die that day.
Okay.
She talked me into it, and I listened. That's it.
Why didn't you call 911?
Because she told me her boyfriend and her gay boyfriend's friend was going to come and kill me. They had this plan.
So instead you killed her?
She wanted to kill me.
So when you stabbed her, is it because you were trying to help her or because you were mad?
It was both.
Okay.
That's the only way you can get mixed up.
So you said when she walks into the bedroom, she's walking to her closet. Is that the first time you stab her?
Mm-hmm.
So she's facing away from you?
Well, yeah.
She's walking to the...
After she, like, pretty much took the knife out and pretty much tried to stab me and stumbled, I took it away.
And then she walks into the bedroom towards the closet.
Yes.
You follow her into the bedroom. And then that's the first time you stab her?
Mm-hmm.
So she's facing her closet and you're behind her.
She was running for something, yes.
If you have enough thought to get rid of your bloody clothes,
okay,
because you're like, I got blood all over my clothes because I just stabbed this woman to death, then I think you understood what you were doing.
We both understood what we were doing.
Hey, do me a favor, take those glasses off. But I don't think you're giving us the whole truth. I think you're trying to spin it a little about this. Well, she convinced me, she made me. How old are you? 24 years old, right?
Yes.
Who can make you do anything?
Nobody.
Right. So nobody made you stab her.
Nobody made me stab her.
You decided to stab her.
Well, she talked me into it.
You guys will never believe it, because how could you guys believe it?
Because
right?
I can't get talked into killing somebody.
No, but you can
People can't get talked into killing people.
You were trying to paint this in a picture that makes it most acceptable.
No, I'm not.
But what happened here
is not acceptable.
Is you stabbed this poor drunk lady about 20 times
she was drunk. I didn't know
while
that.
she was down on her bedroom floor. It's one of the worst stabbings I've seen in my 23 years of law enforcement. And then you're smart enough to get out of there, destroy the evidence, evade our efforts to locate you, and come down to the Springs.
But the physical evidence told a different story. Multiple stab wounds, blood spatter on the floors, and the trail leading straight to the kitchen sink where the knife had been discarded. José attempted to shift blame, suggesting that Ariana had somehow prompted her own death, manipulating him into believing she posed a threat to him. He painted a confusing picture in which he was defending himself, fearing that her boyfriend might arrive at her apartment with intentions of harming him. Investigators quickly determined that these claims did not align with the timeline established from surveillance footage, witness statements, and Patrick's verified alibi. And interviews with neighbors revealed critical observations. One tenant noted hearing commotion that evening, muffled sounds from Ariana's apartment that could have been consistent with a violent struggle. Another remembered seeing José's distinct tattoo and the cup he carried. These seemingly small details became central to establishing his presence and movements. Detectives also reviewed José's background, uncovering a young man with a troubling pattern of instability. While he had no violent convictions on record, acquaintances described him as volatile and easily manipulated, making him susceptible to irrational behavior. The interviews highlighted an unsettling fact. Ariana had unknowingly allowed him into her personal space, trusting someone she barely knew. Evidence collection was meticulous. Crime scene analysts traced blood droplets, confirming the knife as the murder weapon. The blood spatter patterns on the kitchen floor and the sink indicated the intensity and proximity of the stabbing. The trail leading from the bedroom into the living room allowed investigators to reconstruct the attack's progression. Forensic experts concluded that Ariana likely tried to move away from her attacker, but was overpowered, succumbing to the repeated blows. José's cuts on his right hand were particularly damning. Forensic analysis indicated these were consistent with defensive motions while wielding a knife. The wounds corresponded to the trajectory and number of stab wounds on Ariana, establishing a direct connection between him and the attack. Authorities then explored José's psychological profile. Interviews suggested that he might have rationalized the murder as a solution to what he perceived as a chaotic situation. His claims of fear, self-defense, and agreement with Ariana were examined, but investigators concluded that these were manipulative tactics to explain a premeditated act. Investigators also focused on the timeline of the day. Surveillance cameras at multiple locations along Ariana's route from the store to her apartment captured her with José. Internal store footage, timestamps on the Starbucks cup, and corroborating witness statements placed them together, narrowing the window in which the murder occurred. José's prior interactions with Ariana's friends were also reviewed. Patrick's account that Ariana often welcomed strangers to her apartment was confirmed, providing context to how José gained access. Detectives were careful to separate the fact that Ariana had a trusting nature from any implication that she invited her own harm. It was a tragedy born of deceit and violence, not naivety. During interrogation, José continued to weave conflicting narratives. He insisted he had tried to leave multiple times but was compelled to stay. He described Ariana as messing with his head, alleging that she provoked him into using the knife. If you're finding this story compelling, hit like and comment below and subscribe. What do you think drove José to commit such a violent act? Stay tuned where we dive deeper into the investigation and trial. Investigators cross-referenced his statements with forensic data, establishing that his version was implausible. The injuries to Ariana were far too severe for a brief scuffle, and her inability to defend herself against someone larger and stronger made self-defense claims unsustainable. Police also traced José's movements after the murder. He stripped off his clothing, discarding shoes and other items in a nearby dumpster. Surveillance and eyewitness testimony confirmed that he spent days hiding at his mother's house, monitoring the area to see if police would approach. This period of concealment indicated a level of premeditation and awareness of wrongdoing. The forensic team's analysis of the discarded clothing and blood evidence further cemented the case. Each piece tested positive for Ariana's DNA, linking him definitively to the crime scene. The combination of witness statements, surveillance footage, and forensic analysis left little doubt as to his guilt. José was formally charged with first-degree murder. In early 2023, his trial began, drawing significant attention due to the victim's lineage and the striking similarity of her death to that of her grandmother. The prosecution presented a timeline that meticulously mapped out each interaction, movement, and action, demonstrating both motive and opportunity. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence was the Starbucks cup found near Ariana's apartment. Fingerprints from José were recovered, and its path tracked the precise route taken by him and Ariana on the night of the murder. Combined with the blood evidence and his own partial admissions, it painted a clear picture of his presence and role in the crime. Witnesses testified about the nature of Ariana's relationship with José. While she was social and generous, she had no reason to suspect malice. Friends emphasized that she had been attempting to overcome personal struggles, including a history with alcohol, and that José exploited her trust. Testimony also highlighted Ariana's caring nature, particularly her concern for her young son, which added a profound layer of tragedy to the case. The prosecution highlighted José's lack of remorse, his attempts to manipulate the narrative, and the deliberate steps he took to cover his tracks. Each element underscored premeditation, an essential factor in securing a first-degree murder conviction. The courtroom was tense as the trial of José Sandíval Romero began. The prosecution laid out a meticulous case, piecing together every shred of evidence collected in the days following Ariana Woke's death. From the fingerprints on the Starbucks cup to the blood spatter patterns, each element was presented in chronological order, allowing the jury to follow the sequence of events with clarity. Prosecutors emphasized the premeditated nature of the murder. They highlighted José's actions before, during, and after the crime, including discarding his clothing, attempting to hide, and observing the police investigation from his mother's home. Each step, they argued, demonstrated awareness and intent, proof that this was no spontaneous act. Witness testimony played a pivotal role. Neighbors recounted seeing Ariana with José on the evening of July 3rd, the manner in which he carried himself, and his demeanor throughout their interaction. Surveillance footage corroborated these accounts, showing the two walking together toward her apartment and eventually entering it. Experts testified to the improbability of Ariana's self-defense against a man her size who inflicted nearly 20 stab wounds in a controlled, repetitive manner. The prosecution also introduced a digital timeline, showing José's movements in the hours surrounding the murder. Text messages, GPS data, and internal security footage demonstrated that his story of self-defense was inconsistent with reality. His prior history of volatile behavior and controlling tendencies toward Ariana reinforced the argument that he had a motive rooted in obsession and rage. The defense attempted to create doubt, arguing that Ariana could have sustained fatal injuries accidentally or that José acted in the heat of the moment, claiming temporary confusion. They also emphasized his youth, lack of prior violent convictions, and attempts to seek medical attention for her as evidence that he did not intend to kill. However, these arguments faltered under the weight of physical evidence, forensic analysis, and the sheer brutality of the act. Family members of Ariana were present throughout the proceedings. Her mother, Susan Woke, delivered an emotional statement detailing the trauma of losing not only a daughter, but a granddaughter to the same violent fate as her own mother decades prior. Her words painted a portrait of a loving, kind, and generous woman who had only ever sought to care for others, emphasizing the cruelty of her untimely death. The defense attempted to question Ariana's lifestyle, suggesting that her trusting nature and openness with strangers may have contributed to the situation. This line of reasoning was met with strong opposition from the prosecution, who reminded the court that her personal choices did not excuse or justify José's actions. Ariana's character, they argued, was irrelevant to the culpability of a man who took her life. After several days of testimony, the closing arguments summarized the gravity of the crime. The prosecution underscored the deliberate nature of the attack, the planning involved, and José's lack of remorse. They reminded the jury that Ariana's death was not a tragic accident, but the result of calculated and intentional violence. The defense urged for leniency, citing youthful mistakes and lack of prior convictions, but the evidence against José was overwhelming. The jury deliberated for just over 3 hours. When they returned to the courtroom, the verdict was read, guilty of first-degree murder. The judge allowed a brief recess before moving to the sentencing phase. Due to the severity of the crime and the use of premeditated force, the state sought the maximum penalty available under Colorado law. During sentencing, Susan Woke delivered a heartfelt victim impact statement. Her words conveyed not only grief, but the long shadow of trauma cast by the murder of her mother decades earlier. She described Ariana as a bright, generous, and loving woman who had been dedicated to her child and her community. The emotional weight of her testimony resonated deeply with the courtroom, underscoring the irreparable loss caused by José's actions. The defense requested consideration of mitigating factors, emphasizing his cooperation post-arrest and lack of prior criminal convictions. They also appealed to the jury's sense of mercy, arguing that his actions, while tragic, did not warrant a sentence that would remove any chance of eventual rehabilitation. The judge, after careful consideration of all evidence and testimony, imposed a sentence of 48 years in prison. Given Colorado's sentencing laws and José's age, this meant his earliest potential release date would be in 2055. The judge emphasized the premeditated nature of the crime, the brutality of the attack, and the profound impact on Ariana's family and community. Following the sentencing, Ariana's family took steps to honor her memory. Her son, who had been staying with relatives at the time of her death, was placed under the care of family members who committed to supporting him through the traumatic loss. Ariana's sister, Rami, organized a GoFundMe campaign to cover expenses related to her mother's travel, the child's care, and memorial arrangements. Additional fundraising efforts were established to create a trust fund for Ariana's young son, ensuring her legacy would continue through him. The aftermath of the case highlighted several key points for law enforcement and the community. First, the importance of witness accounts, surveillance, and forensic evidence in reconstructing events. Second, the dangers posed by individuals who exploit trust, charm, or access to perpetrate violence. And finally, the enduring resilience of families in the face of unimaginable loss. Psychologists and legal analysts noted that the parallels between Ariana's death and that of her grandmother decades earlier were striking. While entirely coincidental, it added a haunting dimension to the story, amplifying public interest in media coverage. The Woke family's ability to navigate grief and pursue justice served as a testament to their strength and dedication. As the legal process concluded, the community remembered Ariana not only for the tragedy of her death, but also for the vibrancy of her life. Friends recalled her warmth, generosity, and humor, traits that contrasted sharply with the violent circumstances of her passing. Memorials celebrated her role as a mother, a friend, and a granddaughter of historical significance, connecting past and present in a narrative marked by both grief and remembrance. Take a moment to reflect on Ariana's life and her family's resilience. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that uncover the truth behind tragic and chilling cases. Share your thoughts below. How do you think communities can better protect vulnerable individuals while respecting their independence? Do you think there were warning signs that could have prevented this tragedy? Comment below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more true crime stories as we continue to bring the untold narratives behind the headlines. Until next time, stay aware, stay safe, and always look a little deeper. This is True Crime Diaries, where every story has a pulse.